coming to pass. This may be cruel to her, but all Fontaine is in crisis. The information a god possesses is too precious, and so we must take a chance on this.
Tenemos ayuda.
But who will lend us their aid to do such a thing?
Arlequino, ¿cierto? No, ¿pero de qué? ¿O sí?
Well, that's everyone, huh? Speaking of which, it was pretty smart of you to think of hiding here.
Poisson was just involved in a disaster, so it's presently devoid of people. That naturally makes it the best choice.
And here you are drinking tea like it's the most natural thing in the world, huh?
That's what families should do. Sit and enjoy a leisurely time together.
It's nice to enjoy tea here, you know? Care for a cup?
Lend me your ears, everyone. Or perhaps one of you might like to start us off. How about you, friend?
Me? No, I don't think I can.
Then, how about you, good sir?
I fear that I will cause the mood on this boat to become as somber as it is in the court.
Well then, I guess we're lucky we've got a local like me to organize things. Wonderful, the spotlight at last. I guess I'll be facilitating things from here.
That was a little long-winded, don't you think?
Ay, qué lindo también.
Oh, you might be right. Anyway, to cut to the chase, our friend here, the traveler, has brought us together to discuss something.
Vamos a hacer una encerrona a la Arconte. Vamos a estar jugando con fuego, weón. Porque la Arconte, pues, weón, es la diosa.
As for what that is, well, let's start by saying that we'll be pooling our efforts together to create a series of traps.
Oh, how intriguing.
Bueno, tenemos aquí al más gordito, así que ya tenemos ahí un miembro importante.
Well, it's just an expression, really. One that I just learned from Chlorand and used on the spot. So, let's invite her to explain in detail. A round of applause, please.
Ah.
Huh? Didn't you say that you would be facilitating this?
Ya, señora Cloro, vaya, hable.
Oh, come now. Your work doesn't involve much public speaking, right? This is a good chance to practice. You might even pick up some fancy oratory tricks to impress your boss with in the future.
I see. And what does my boss say?
Ay, me alegra que se lleven bien, weón.
He is glad that you consider him your boss. Do go on.
In that case, do any of you have experience hunting?
Sí.
Not that I recall.
Fremine and I once used a wooden stick in a basket to catch wild rabbits when we were younger. As for Lynette, oh, right. You were sick that day, weren't you?
Controlaba mal.
I've also gone diving to catch some fish before. Does that count?
Yo pesqué a Paimón con una caña de pescar hace mucho tiempo.
I'm afraid not. You may or may not have heard, but Fontaine once played host to a group known as the Marechaussee Hunters.
Cazadores fantasmales.
Though that was their name, they did not hunt animals, but rather various monsters left behind by the ancient dynasty of King Remus. Today, Fontaine's monster population has already thinned greatly, so the hunters have blended back into society, taking up arms in other lines of work. They even left a unique methodology of hunting in their wake. A trap comprises of the following components: bait, a trigger, and a containment device. Sometimes a lethal implement will also be necessary to deal with the prey. So, if we were to build a trap together, right now, what would you choose to build it with?
For me, I would prefer something basket-shaped. Pigeons and rabbits will see the bait and naturally enter the snare.
Sí, pero la trampa va a ser para un arconte, así que no puede ser tan sencillo.
Our line of work requires a deft hand, and we're some of the best in the industry, so you can count on our techniques.
You used some of those techniques while moving the people of Poisson, didn't you? My subordinates mentioned that you even performed some magic for the bawling children.
Yes, and I even managed to gather some intelligence in the meantime. I'm quite the multitasker, if I do say so myself.
Multitasking.
I'm afraid I can't claim that as my strong suit. I prefer more stable methods, like placing bait in the water and waiting for the fish to come within reach. That's the kind of method I would count on.
Calm and steady. Exactly the kind of person who would catch loads of fish.
And I can be their assistant.
Asistente.
With discretion, I'm sure.
I'd probably use some sort of mechanical animal. Papa once bought me some small clockwork squirrels, mice, and such. When placed in the forest, they can attract others of their kind. I remember that you liked those too, didn't you?
I did. And that would be a good way to go about it. If they're realistic enough, animals of the same kind will follow them all the way to the trap.
What about you, Monsieur Neuvillette?
I fear I do not have any related experience.
That makes sense. You usually solve problems directly, without the use of any such tricks.
Claro.
But I do have one more question for you, monsieur. If we were to create a trap now, how would you design it?
I would like for it to be effective, but bring no harm to the prey. A more gentle trap would be ideal.
Kind, as always. However, our intention doesn't necessarily change the containment device and the type of implement we need. If we wanted to kill the prey in one strike, we would need a powerful implement. However, that also goes for prey that must be captured and safely contained.
Wait, why's that?
Only a hunter who's a true expert at subduing their prey can snare it without harming it. The line that divides life and death is often exceedingly thin.
So, are we going hunting together?
No, pues estamos hablando de la trampa que le vamos a hacer a Furina.
Huh. We hadn't thought of seeing ourselves as hunters. It kinda works, but maybe it's still not the best metaphor.
If our means of capturing and dealing with our prey is to put them on trial, then the hunting metaphor is actually quite accurate. But we shall require much more courage than any hunter to judge a god, a being whose seat is an exalted throne.
Claro.
Oh, so that's what's going on. Sounds very interesting.
No harán llamar a cazadores porque... ¿Qué cuestión? Solo necesitan averiguar qué secreto esconde. Es liberante indicar en los secretos de un dios. Pero, claro, solo necesitamos eso en particular. No queremos saber nada más. Ni siquiera sabemos saber de qué color son sus corazones. No, nosotros queremos saber lo que tiene que ver con la profecía. En este caso, no existe un cazador ni una presa, pero sí la posibilidad de tender una rampa. Eso es lo que necesitan, una rampa. Voy a decir, oye, están funando a alguien. Pasa el chisme. Ah, sí. Te están funando a ti. ¿Y por qué no me defiendes? Te estoy funando yo. ¿Dónde estamos? Ah, aquí, vale. Vamos. Pero aquí necesitamos a alguien experto, pues, alguien que sepa atemorizar a la Furina. Y eso es Arkelin. Ay.
It's been a tough few days, hasn't it? So much has been happening. Paimon didn't think the meetings would go on for so long, but everyone seemed pretty fired up, huh?
Sí.
Paimon thought they'd be at least a little frightened. Well, Fremine was, now that Paimon thinks about it, but everyone else just looked a little surprised. Well, it's hard to say. Paimon doesn't have any experience with this sort of thing. But with you around, Paimon sure will do great. After all, you're the most reliable person in the world, aren't you? Huh? Did you just pour some tea? Paimon didn't notice you doing that at all.
Oh.
Then what's that? Paimon's never seen that cup before.
¿Cómo que no? Si la hemos visto.
Don't be frightened. I'm just joining you two for tea. I merely refrained from saying anything till now.
Who's that voice? But there's no one here.
Ah, have you forgotten me already?
Wait, you are familiar. You're the voice we heard from the sky in Sumeru.
Sí, po.
The voice from the sky, I fear that description is wrong. Though, not completely wrong.
Ah, verdad que esa cosa que hicimos en la fiesta para Clee, creo que se hizo después de Fontaine, po. Ese evento.
You're feeling lost now, just as you were feeling previously. I sensed that confusion and thus came to you. Guiding people is an irresistible hobby of mine, after all. Consider me a passerby, just accepting a commission from my friend's disciple on a whim.
Sí, pura de una amiga. Entonces no es la maestra de la mona, po. Ay, no me acuerdo. No, entonces no. Esta entonces es la mamá de Clee. Es discípulo de una amiga. O sea, ella y la maestra de Mona son amigas. Y esta es la misteriosa bruja N del Aquilar. Me gustaría preguntarle sobre la profecía. O sea, si la profecía fue cumplida.
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesized will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future.
Con toda seguridad. La historia del futuro.
What? Then is there any way we can stop it?
I believe you have witnessed a failed attempt with your own eyes. Can everything in Teyvat so easily be changed?
Otra vez el destino.
Ah, so you've caught on.
just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners where the gods' gaze does not fall? Are the things that you shall see different from the fate that the gods perceive?
What is she talking about? It all sounds really impressive and important and stuff, but it also...
Veo el fondo de la taza de té.
I believe that you understand, right? Some things are insignificant, but others you must reach out to change. Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Teyvat's future. This was good tea, by the way. Thank you for your hospitality. Well, that'll be all for today.
No.
The voice. It's
Bueno.
gone.
No respondió lo que queríamos saber. Po. Bruja N, ¿esa es la pista que nos da?
Paimon hears someone talking. Alright, coming. Hey, it's you who's getting lazy, okay?
Well, I see I've walked in on some lively banter.
Hay que darle la gracia a Mana, po.
Luna!
De estos días.
Fine, just fine. I went to take part in that Steambird panel. It turned out to be more interesting than I expected.
Hay que darle las gracias, po, Mona.
Not all Fontanians are pessimistic about this. One journalist mentioned that sitting around and waiting for the end to come would be wrong, and that they should make their own rescue preparations. I agreed, so we had a brief chat with her.
Did she have pink hair by any chance?
Why, yes, it was Charlotte. You remember her, right? That daredevil journalist?
¿Sí?
I'm in full support of her view. Prophecies are very important, but how can people allow their lives to be commandeered by just a few words?
That's right! Paimon's glad to hear something sensible for once.
Ah, yes. About what we had discussed before. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't reach the old hag. I'll try again tonight, but I wouldn't get your hopes up.
En realidad, alguien ha venido a visitarnos.
Huh?
Y le contamos lo que ocurrió.
Goodness gracious. Are you serious?
Imagino que vino a transmitirnos un mensaje.
She said that even the god's gaze has blind spots. Pretty bold if you ask Paimon. Most people would believe the gods to be all-knowing, right?
Omnipotentes. O sea, estos dioses no los veo tan omnipotentes.
The Hexen Circle members are certainly anything but ordinary. As for the mage named N, the old hag has mentioned her a few times. She said that N's sense of direction is incredible, and that she loves guiding those who are lost. But I've never met her, and if she were still alive, she'd be... well, suffice it to say that the hag's at least a few hundred now, and N's been around for longer than that.
Es aún mayor que ella. Ah, chucha.
Whoa. The Hexen Circle sounds like a scary group. But they must really stay in shape to live so long.
Their abilities alone are pretty terrifying. If she came to see you personally, then the problem you're facing must truly be of great importance.
Claro. Po.
Well, it's not like Paimon could understand anything she said.
Yes, she was quite cryptic, but I suspect she means that there is still a way to turn things around. She didn't say
Sí,
when
eso sí,
or what
eso
that
es
would
verdad.
be, though, so Perhaps it is something that you cannot know right now.
Es posible. Seguro que... No. ¿Puede ser una mejor respuesta que había a mi pregunta?
Traveler, Paimon, are you two all right?
Sí.
Oh, we're fine. We're just a little down right now. It kind of feels like the end is coming, you know?
I see. I feel that same sense of desperation, too. I guess you could consider me someone who has often witnessed fate. So far as I have seen, it cannot be swayed. But even so, I still hope for and believe in miracles. Astrology is eternal and rational, but fate may not be.
Claro.
It is cruel, but it can also be beautiful. Perhaps that's what En was trying to tell you. Not to lose heart, and to believe that what you are seeing playing out before you is not yet. I did originally think of steering clear of all this, but I couldn't. Even if this is all futile, I still wish to help everyone. If we don't struggle to the last, then how can we face the end when it comes?
Huh. You do have a point.
There I go, talking about astrological principles again. Sorry about that. The moment I start talking about work-related stuff.
No, no te
I
no
need
te
to get
preocupes.
going. It was worth trying to comfort you, even if only a little. I believe that you'll help those who are struggling in the same way I did. I suppose that might be why we always seem to meet by coincidence.
Qué tierna. Chao, Mona, muchas gracias. Siempre un gusto
Kinda
verte.
moved by what Mona said, but also kinda sad too.
O sea, el fin del mundo va a llegar sí o sí, po, pero de nosotros depende que se aplace y se aplace.
Hey, Traveler. Paimon suddenly feels like going outside for a walk. Let's walk around the city, shall we? There's a few spots we always like to walk by.
Tengo frío. Voy a hacerme un tecito. Voy y vuelvo.
Jean will be upset if she catches us lazing around like this.
Just then, the rain stopped. Should it keep raining? Just then, the rain stopped. Or should it keep raining? Just then, the rain stopped. Or should it keep raining?
Hey, there's something strange over there. Come on, let's take a look. Jean will be upset if she catches us lazing around like this.
Just then, the rain stopped. Or should it keep raining?
I feel like running.
Just then, the rain stopped. Or should it keep raining? Just then, the rain stopped. Or should it keep raining? Just then, the rain stopped. Or
Hey, there's something strange over there. Come on, let's take a look.
just then, the rain stopped. Or should it keep raining? Just then, the rain stopped. Or should it keep raining? Just then, the rain
Jean will be upset if she catches us lazing around like this.
raining.
Volví. ¿Qué dijiste, cabrón?
Huh?
Oh,
Our names are written in this newspaper. What's going on?
los nombres.
Let Paimon see. The underwater stronghold, the Fortress of Meripede, has continued in its noble autonomy, but that does not mean that others cannot interact with it. my recent attempts to enter the fortress bore little fruit. Huh. Guess Charlotte still hasn't given up on that. Thus, did an Outlander friend become the focus of this report. A blind adventurer with their white fairy legends trailing in their wake. It is said that this mysterious traveler once visited the underwater fortress. So while the fortress's interior remains a mystery behind closed doors, do not fear, for the tales of the traveler contain surprises in spades. Journalist Charlotte's biggest scoop yet, the Traveler's Trail, World Walker. Huh. Charlotte took so many awesome photos of us and we never even noticed her. She hasn't been able to get a hold of anything at the fortress, so since we're easier to find, she's using us as the subject matter instead? Ugh, seriously? Well, fine. Those headlines and photos do look cool, so Paimon will forgive her this time.
Bet you can't keep up
Ay.
with me.
We're here! Paimon's hungry. Should we go in and get something to eat?
¿Dónde entramos? Aquí se podía entrar. Ah, esta parte. Vale, vale.
Hey, quick! Look! That's the limited edition only 16 slices a day cake!
Y aún no se ha agotado.
It was so delicious the last time we tried it! Despite the tense situation we were in, let's give it another go! I'm sure it'll be great!
One slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after all! Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia.
Hola.
Oh, are you here to buy cake too? It seems Monsieur Nervalette was right. You really can eat.
Wait, did he really say something like that?
That's right. Even he has his own preferences when it comes to food. As for me, I love the cake and coffee here.
Vale.
Do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every day?
¿Todos los días?
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from work. I shall have my cake and coffee.
Then what if someone told you one day that this place would be closing soon, and you wouldn't get to eat cake here anymore? What would you think?
But why would it close?
No, no la pongas triste, Paimon.
Well, Paimon doesn't know either, but maybe the waters will rise tomorrow.
Oh, the prophecy. To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to that. No, still, even if there'd be no more cake tomorrow, that wouldn't keep me from having some today. No, it's the same for eating in general. You might not be able to eat tomorrow, but if you can do so today, then you should carry on. That's what people call living, you know.
Huh.
Don't be sad. Excuse me, could I have 2 more slices of cake to go? These 2 slices are for you. Sijuin said that this kind of expression you're making is what humans call being sad.
Oh, you know Sijuin?
I sure do. She was born before me, and she sometimes comes to the surface to teach us things about humans. She said that humans are creatures that are saddened easily, yes, and you can only lift their spirits by feeding them delicious food. So please try the cakes here. I've got something else to do, so I'll be going now. You two try to stay in a good mood after eating, all right? Bye.
¡Qué tierna! Chao,
And
perrito.
there she goes. All right, let's dig in. Paimon's sure this cake will be delicious. It's more delicious than last time, and the flavor gets even better with a sip of tea. It sure would be nice if we could come again tomorrow. Sure would be nice if we could always eat delicious food here.
Pero que estamos tristes. Sabía. Sonic, hola, ¿cómo estás? Lo siento, pero estoy haciendo misiones. Aunque... hay amigos por acá, vivo, ¿no? Ah, no has... No.
Oh, we're near the Steambird office. Let's go look for Charlotte and have a chat.
¿Mm? Ay. Bonito sea bueno. Píola. ¿Qué esta weón? Oye, ¿esto? Ese es tubo, ¿no? Ah, acá está, po.
Wow! If it isn't the Traveler and Paimon! Oh, have you seen the article I wrote about you?
Sí, está bonito.
Ha! You've got some nerve! You just used us to make some quick mora!
¿Dónde está la parte que nos corresponde?
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I heard that you were in Poisson some time back, so I sent you a letter to discuss just that. It appears you didn't receive it, though.
Ah, bueno.
It's all right, though. I've set aside the amount intended for you. I've even set the table with some food.
Really?
Qué buen servicio.
Oh, you're the best!
little too easy to win over, Paimon. If I were a journalist with ulterior motives, you'd be in trouble now, you know.
Oh, Paimon knows you're not like that.
Claro.
Still, what brings you here all of a sudden? Were you looking for me?
Oh, la verdad que no sé.
When Mona mentioned you, we thought of coming to see you at work.
Ah.
I see. It seems you've already bumped into Mona here in Fontaine. So she mentioned me? What did she say?
She said that you're a real daredevil of a journalist.
Nice. In which case, can this daredevil journalist dare to request an exclusive interview with the legendary traveler and Paimon?
Sí.
Huh? So your article in the paper today doesn't count?
Oh, of course it doesn't. That was more like live photography. What I'd like to do is dive deeper and ask you to talk about the things you've seen and experienced.
No me quejo.
Yeah, are we even qualified enough?
Why not? If I say you're worth an interview, then you're worth it. But not right now, of course. I'll need a few days to prepare.
Oh, in that case, we'll just chat when you have the time then?
Sí.
Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! I'll tell the editor-in-chief immediately. I'll have to apply for lighting, a venue, some props, and... Whew, so much to get done now. Talk to you later.
Vale.
Wait, Charlotte, Paimon's still got a question for you.
And what's that?
If, just for example, Fontaine were to be flooded tomorrow, what would you do today?
Huh. That's the prophecy you're talking about, isn't it? I mean, I do hear about it often, but I've never once thought that the day could be tomorrow. If you're seriously asking, then I might try and think of a way to leave Fontaine. Oh, but I'm still a journalist first and foremost. That means I have a duty to be reporting from the scene. And secondly, I wouldn't forsake my homeland that easily. From what I've seen, most people don't know what they'd do should the worst come to pass. In truth, it might be better just to behave like normal rather than worry over such an end.
Claro.
So in all likelihood, I'd probably still be prepping at the office for that interview of ours. I know what you're thinking. That sounds a bit sad, but I've always believed that it's best to do what you enjoy. Just think about it. If this nation really were to be suddenly destroyed tomorrow, but I still successfully finish an exclusive interview with a truly unique person, then the story I would wind up writing would truly be timeless. And then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that story, send it for printing, and use messenger pigeons to get copies out to the various nations as soon as possible. I'm not a dreamer, nor am I a workaholic, but I do love my job, and I'd be proud of leaving such an article behind. I guess you could say that I was born to be a journalist. But anyway, that's my answer. And on that note, I'll get back to my preparations.
Bye-bye.
That's so nice. All of a sudden, Paimon actually kind of... Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we?
A ver, ¿con qué nos vamos a encontrar en el marcito? ¿Me llevan solo para allá?
The sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty soothing combo, huh?
Aquí nos vamos a encontrar hoy a los tres hermanos. ¿Qué más falta por encontrar aquí? Clorinda, quizá.
Paimon's been thinking.
¿O no? ¿En qué?
If it wasn't Fontaine, but all of Teyvat that would be destroyed tomorrow, where would we go and what would we do? No, Paimon should ask, if you could choose, what would you like to do?
Si pudiera elegir. Es como lo que dijo Charlotte. Devanarse los sesos pensando en ello no tiene sentido.
We've always been moving to the next destination, so we haven't spent much time thinking about these kinds of things. We didn't have to either, with us always being on the road and whatnot.
Y seguiré haciéndolo hasta que ese día llegue.
You mean, still traveling?
Sí. Apareciendo cada segundo.
you've always been doing?
Oye, en todo caso, ahora que me vengo a dar cuenta, desde que llegamos a Contain, ni por si acaso me han preguntado por nuestra hermana, pues, weón. Queríamos hablar con la Arconte, pero al final ni siquiera hemos tocado el tema. Bueno, que está quedando la cagada también en en el reino, así que. Pero sí, weón. Mm. Ay, me entrevistaron al tiro, pues. Lo parece bien. Parece que estamos preparando ya la trampa.
Feels like you'll grow mold if you stay here long enough.
Buster Madera 4 dice, Dino Dance, Dino Dance,
Dino
Dino
Dance,
Dance.
Dino Dance. ¿Cómo está mi booster? Aquí, aquí seguimos.
But it's still better than the Fortress of Mirapede, that's for sure. It's not only damp there, but salty too.
El video aquí es súper largo, weón. Cuando lo suba, weón. Creo que lo voy a partir en trozos, weón. Como una parte.
Buster Madera 4
Sí,
dice,
weón.
toca almorzar, pero aquí te sigo Zap XD.
Muchas gracias, muchas gracias. Sí, en todo caso, yo creo que también en una hora más quizás me llamen para almorzar,
Buster
weón.
Madera 4 dice, River 36 Cajim.
Cachín. No sé. Es que hasta el momento. Bueno, es que estoy tan feliz de haber salido de la prisión que se me fue el sueño, weón. Y quiero seguir con la historia, weón. Quiero asumir que lo que pasó en. Lo que pasó en la prisión, menos al final, nunca pasó.
Ah, so the two of you are still here.
Hola.
Wonderful.
Oh, you're from the Palais Mermonia, aren't you?
Yes, I'm Isadora. Monsieur Nervillet sent me to look for you two before. I heard that afterward you went to the fortress of Meropide.
¿Y pensaba que éramos fugitivos?
Not at all. I'm well aware that you're friends of his. Actually, I'm here to pass along a message from him.
Somos todo oídos.
Yes, inside the Opera House. The Maréchaussée Phantom has declared the incident a small-scale riot.
Lo califica de rebelión a pequeña
A
escala.
riot?
Well, that said, I don't personally think it was that serious. Lady Farina was watching a performance at the Opera House, and while she was resting during an intermission, some other audience members suddenly started harassing her, loudly accusing her of doing nothing about the prophecy crisis. And before she could respond, others started to join in. The crowd continued to grow, and protests against the Hydro Archon started to break out.
So people have started to put the blame on Farina. Guess they finally found an outlet for the pressure they've been under due to the prophecy.
Sí, pues, weón.
I agree. People will naturally rely on gods, as is customary. But the moment people feel threatened, gods are also the first to be blamed.
En todo caso. Pero también es cierto que esta desgraciada sabe algo que no nos quiere decir, po, y puede que nos pueda ayudar para tratar de solucionar la cosa. Y como se queda callada, ay, nosotros también estamos ahí.
So what happened after that? Is Farina okay?
Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control and that further argument was pointless, she claimed that she'd gotten tired of this and left in a hurry. The Maréchaussée Phantom had their hands full maintaining order and did not catch where Lady Farina had gone. Only when things had stabilized did we realize that she had gone missing.
So, you mean she's still missing?
That's right. The Maréchaussée has dispatched many people to search for her, but we don't have any leads yet. that said, I don't think there's much to worry about. She is a god after all. Even if she were to fall into the hands of rioters, what could ordinary people do to her?
Bueno, técnicamente sí, porque es una diosa.
Good.
Se supone.
Monsieur Nervillet sent me to tell you about the situation, but he didn't say anything else.
Ah, pero ¿cómo no vamos a quedar ahí sin hacer nada? Pues vamos a ayudar.
Don't worry, this is more than enough to go on. Thanks for keeping us informed.
Ah, is that so? Well, all right then. In that case, you two take care. I'll be heading back to the palais now.
Bye bye. Vamos a buscar a Furina.
Sounds like we should hurry over to Poisson then.
Qué claras tienen las cosas.
If we know Furina, she won't try to fix things in this situation. Instead, she'll look for a place to wait out the heat. And as we also know, she may be loud and dramatic, but she doesn't have a heart of stone.
Sí, po. Con el listado de las personas que fallecieron ahí, seguramente iba a estar allá. Po.
When Nervillet was talking to her in the Palais Mermonia, and she heard about Poisson, she couldn't hide her sadness and remorse. It would be hard for her to ignore being accused by the public today.
Claro.
Paimon thinks Furina's probably taken the opportunity to slip away to Poisson and try to relieve the sense of guilt that she's... Huh! Well, what do you think? Paimon knows the answer, of course, but Paimon can do the analysis to back it up, too. Cool, huh?
No es la misma cuando te conviertes en la detective de Paimon. Leer novela de misterio te ayuda a Naru.
In that case, there's not a moment to lose. Poisson,
¡Vamos! ¿Dónde era? Acá. ¡Oh no! Era ese. Ay.
This place looks deserted. Guess all the survivors must have evacuated already. All that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Furina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible.
Allá. Ahí está. ¡No! La activé la web.
That's Furina, right over there. She really is here all on her own.
Should I just give up? This is all meaningless.
No.
What was meant to happen did happen after all. Everyone's dead. I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
No, pero porque gente llora.
Give up, Furina. There's no point in holding out. I'm sorry. But what can I even do other than to repeat meaningless apologies over and over?
Hola.
Who's that?
Don't worry, Furina, it's just us.
So it is you, blonde traveler from another land. Why, I almost thought you were someone from that mob of my ignorant subjects. Come to kneel and beg for my forgiveness.
No, no, no. Oye, se ve súper clara mi visa. Me acabo.
Furina, you were crying just now, weren't you? The tear stains on your face are obvious.
What do you mean, tear stains? Oh, I remember. The show at the Opera House earlier this morning was so moving. I'm still trying to process it. Who did that uncivilized rabble think they were? Disturbing my enjoyment of the arts. They even dare to tout their Archon. I must teach them a lesson. I can just imagine their twisted and frustrated faces once they realize that I'm nowhere to be found. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Maréchaussée Phantom are freaking out right next to them, too.
Ah, triste, Jolina, no lo ocultes.
Of course not.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are... They're just some rabid fans who want to cut the line because they haven't been able to meet me in person, aren't they? That's against the rules. I can't let them get their way.
Farina just ran off. Quick, we have to catch up with her.
Vamos. Uf, alta cinemática, weón.
This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here. Quick, come to Paimon before the rest of them catch up to you.
What is this place?
Hurry, they're almost here.
Esta mierda.
Fine. I suppose haste is warranted. Lead the way.
Paimon's exhausted.
I'm so tired. I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they displayed. You're right.
Yep, that's a good girl.
What's happening?
Oh,
The ground's
otro
shaking.
cadáver.
Is it an earthquake?
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, didn't it?
It can't be. It's happening again.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Nouvellette's made some emergency plans, so the evacuation should go a lot smoother this time.
Yeah, I hope you're right. But the people of Poisson, they've already...
Ahora ha llegado Furina a su límite. Parece que ahora se comporta de manera más natural. Ay.
It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds of years.
Siglos.
I once had informants all over Teyvat, searching for clues and feeding information back to me. I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea. Anything to keep the coastline from advancing. But all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. Really, the truth has been clear to me for a very long time. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will have its way, and the prophecy shall be fulfilled.
Y aún así no te has rendido.
Give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. It would mean finally coming to terms with fate, but also for me to finally be free.
Pero también significaría que no hay ninguna esperanza.
Indeed. I've thought about giving up so many times. especially after we almost lost Poisson. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart and obeys no rules. The prophecy has only just started to come true, and so just now, it all became clear to me. I still don't have the right to come to terms with fate on behalf of everyone else. As long as the final moment hasn't come, it's still not too late. Don't worry. I will keep hope alive for everyone until the very end. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play the stricken maiden, but honestly, considering my rank and station, that wasn't a good fit at all.
Como que la tipa tiene como que tiene una doble personalidad, bueno.
Don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could I possibly let Fontaine fall to the whims of trivial prophecy?
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were actually being honest just now.
No tenemos mucho tiempo. Tengo que preguntarle algo más o habremos avanzado nada. No hace falta que cargues tú sola con todo esto. Que nadie sepa la verdad, tu pueblo está dispuesto a compartir la carga que llevas. Si tu pueblo supiera la verdad, querría compartir la carga contigo.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone.
Bueno, no la comparto, pero quiero saber, porque quiero el chisme, Cuéntanos, seré tu testigo.
A witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Teyvat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you never belonged here.
Técnicamente sí, eso es verdad.
And if Teyvat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then you're just a spectator, aren't you? If
Claro.
that's the case...
No hay tiempo, dilo ya, Furina. Me va a contar la historia de origen. Por favor, cuéntalo. No. Oh. What? No me estés hueveando.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
No, ¿eso fue lo que escuchamos? ¿No estaban transportando la casita para acá? Oh.
So, this is what it is. Yes, you deserve praise for the effort you took to raise the dramatic stakes. Do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the god of justice, the embodiment of justice itself. Does it not strike you as even the least bit absurd to bring the very concept of justice to trial?
Bueno, eso es verdad.
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
No.
You would draw your blade against a god?
Chucha.
I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it. She just surrendered.
¿Está rindiendo?
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an Archon surrender to a human?
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Farina, what is the meaning of this?
Shh. It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding. To be clear, the raising of both hands is not always an indication of surrender.
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate my acceptance of the trial. No duel shall be necessary. I will admit that I've been running away for a long time. I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the people of Poisson. It is my duty to stand trial for my crimes. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. I, too, am exceedingly disappointed in myself. But now, it is time for the Hydro Archon to show you her courage and resolve. I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice!
Uy, esto está muy interesante.
This time, I will protect you. Applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous and fantastical arcs known to the opera epiclese is now unfolding before your eyes. Mark my words, this shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine. The trial of the Hydro Archon, Focalor, will now begin!
No faltan los buenos.
Oh, now we're making history.
Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on! Didn't she just get forced to stand trial for her crimes? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking this seriously this time, right?
All right, then. Who will be my opponent in this trial?
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Yo!
Is that so? Very well. Then please speak, witness of Teyvat, my accuser and fated opponent.
el que acusa y más o testigo. Farina estuvo a punto de contarnos su secreto, pero al final ocurrió esto. No pasa nada, mientras gane el juicio, seguiré teniendo la oportunidad de que nos explique todo. Ahí.
Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question before the trial begins, just how much work did you do to force me onto this stage?
Creo que nosotros, o sea, sabíamos que íbamos a hacer esto, pero la verdad es que, si no me equivoco, no sabíamos. A menos que sí supíamos, pero no lo habían mostrado.
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the Spina di Rosula.
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates.
Oh, qué está bonito. Lo quiero. Pa' mí. Farina.
They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to incite insurrection against you. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. A spark was all we needed to turn smoldering anger into a flame.
Oh.
Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely flee the scene and head to Poisson by yourself. So, we arranged for a second group to lie in wait there.
So, you mean the ones who scoured the settlement for me were also from the Spina?
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest magic performance in all of Fontanian history.
¿Y cómo no se dio cuenta que estaban volando?
That's right. That house was a magic box rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Arenías. Its cargo, of course,
¿O de verdad usó magia?
was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary performance.
You're welcome?
De nada.
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot of work for all of us.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant magic box was just a normal tremor from the transportation of the whole house?
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Ah, no, sí sabía. Lo siento, Furina.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be immediately ready for a fight. Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence without a hitch. Am I right?
Yes, that is correct.
Sí, arriesgaron porque si hubiera querido pelear, yo creo que además se pitía a Clorinda.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding champion duelist in all of Fontaine would accept a duel with an Archon without flinching. Thank you. As for you, traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me distracted with conversation once you found me in Poisson. You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived onto the stage.
Te equivocas.
Oh?
Mi misión era intentar una última cosa. Queríamos que nos contaras tu secreto antes de llegar al tribunal.
Is that so? Then I suppose I must have missed my final chance. It's fine. It matters not. What's done is done. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very end.
Efectivamente, ahora lo único que puedo hacer es juzgar al arconte. Aún así, no puedo dejar de pensar en ello. ¿Qué iba a contarme Furina antes de que llegara al tribunal?
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her, it should speed up the proceedings.
¿Investigó algo?
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte! Oh, let Paimon see. Isn't this the exclusive interview that she did with us before? So she's already Wait, then that means this document is a perfect timeline of everything that's happened ever since we stepped foot in Fontaine. So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use something from our journey as evidence for an argument. Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
Creo que igual han pasado otras
You
cosas.
defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duels you took part in at the Opera House. That's one for the history books, all right. I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case I'd been following all this time. I guess you could also see this as a happy coincidence.
Pero no leí, po, weón.
This is the first time Monsieur Nervillette had a difference of opinion with the Oratrice. Even the Hydro Archon can't figure it out. This is the first time Monsieur Nervillette had a difference of opinion.
Puta, el Tartaros. Las Erinías.
A Fatui Harbinger. She's an extraordinary person. Her instinct must mean something. A Fatui Harbinger. She's an extraordinary person. Her instinct must mean something. The fortress of Meripede was almost destroyed in a single day. That I didn't witness that scene personally will always be a source of professional regret, I think. According to Monsieur Nervillette, both Child and that whale should have been in the primordial sea at that time.
La ruina.
I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, that still gives me shivers. I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, that still gives me shivers. The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be truly understood when something surreal happens to you.
Vale.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervillette. There's no need to repeat all the unimportant legalese. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead actress of this performance, I still haven't even been informed of my supposed guilt in all of this. Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god. However, you will need more than that to convict me of a crime.
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon.
¡Estoy hablando! Y ese milagro, weón. Por fin le pagaron al actor de voz. ¡Vamos! Por haber hecho algo como Arconte.
Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Oh.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge?
Juicio.
Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
A todo esto, si el Arconte, ¿por qué no tiene la Nokis lo que quieren robar los Futai?
Yeah. Even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very identity?
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina can be super irresponsible, but what grounds does that prosecutor have to make such a huge claim?
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling their memory.
Los que cuando nacieron y ya era aquí y ya tan viejo y sigue estando joven, entonces ya tiene un punto ahí.
See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never be upheld? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation. We will treat everything that's happened as a dramatic spectacle and move on with our lives. What?
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Farina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the people.
La gente cree que eres su arconte porque lo han creído así desde hace tiempo.
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, then let me ask. If you believe I'm not the Archon, then what manner of being do you think I am? And if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
Tengo que pensar con cuidado. ¿Qué hace Furina tan especial? Juicio. O sea, ¿me están oyendo? Porque lo único que está... Ah, no. Claro, que esta la sentencia, esto corrobora que el analizador puede que falle. Pero no tiene nada que ver con que... Yo creo que esta. Que Arlequino la estoy investigando. Bueno.
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all, even if that wasn't the case, there could be other ways to extend your life.
Como por ejemplo, una maldición.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against me.
No importa quién lo haya dicho. Eso no importa, lo importante es cuál es la verdad.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
Neverlet sensed it too, huh?
Pues Furina eres una humana con una maldición. Así pues, Furina, ¿es posible que seas una humana maldita?
Lady Farina is actually a human?
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by looking at them. It's not impossible.
Juicio.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you said, how does that prove that I am merely a human being? Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped as gods. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine.
A ver, si está por 500 años, esto se podría solucionar fácilmente llamando a otro arconte, ¿no? 20 o el Morax, esos son antiguos, po. Pero llevan también 500 años, ¿no? Si así, ellos podrían corroborar si realmente el arconte o no, po. O no sé, entre dioses quizás se pueden ver. No sé.
One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the indemnitium that is used in every aspect of life.
Ya, aquí podemos usar lo que pasó con el Tartaras. Esta.
You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise, you should have come up with a good explanation for that by now.
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for humans to comprehend. There is no need to provide an explanation.
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you are also first and foremost the defendant. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
Sí, pues. Está jugada ante todo.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice.
Porque si fueras un arconte sabrías cómo funciona. Pues es parte de la deidad que tiene estos buenos, po.
Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't they?
The real Hydro Archon? Well, now you're really losing me. It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict that day. But the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally, and it has been operating independently ever since it was first created. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god behind it must also be no god at all.
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power over the Oratrice.
Dejemos a un lado el asunto de las hazañas. ¿Podríamos mostrarnos tu poder?
My power as an Archon. There are many ordinary citizens in the audience. How can I just carelessly demonstrate the formidable power of an Archon?
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go that far.
Muéstranos brevemente cómo usas el elemento hidro. Oye, todo esto, ese cosito no tiene el símbolo. Hasta un humano con visión podría demostrar su poder sin problema.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority of a god?
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice into Indemnitium! Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives. Have you ever seen a more magnanimous god?
No sé.
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still be called a god?
It seems like nobody's buying Furina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please don't stare at me as if I was a liar. I'm still the same Furina you knew, right? The one that you loved. Shouldn't you want to believe in me? Please? You've got to believe me.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a grave offense.
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And all of our ancestors? Ever since they were born?
Chucha, esto está poniendo complicado.
Enough! That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not the real Hydro Archon, then who is? If you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you find anyone who can back up their claim to be such, then what grounds have you to say that I'm not actually the real deal?
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. How can we refute her now? Seems like she really doesn't want to give up.
Aunque no tengamos prueba de que no es un arconte, al menos podemos demostrar que es humana. Si Furina es humana, entonces... ¿Entonces qué? ¿Que nos bajamos con agüita? No, no. ¿Qué puede ser?
It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water from the primordial sea. And that means...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all suspicions of you being the latter.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor, you must still adhere to proper procedure.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will be the last time that I'll speak out of turn. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, taking many lives. Including those of some of my closest friends. So, Miss Furina, would you dare to touch some of this seawater?
Concha de madre, weón.
If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching the seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen your case. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us. Would she really dare to try?
Farina?
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you possess the right to decline participation.
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession of guilt.
Claro.
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word. It really does seem like she's quite terrified of it.
What's going on? Is she really planning to... that's not what we thought she would...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina, you may...
Lo hizo.
Hey!
Lo ha hecho. Ay.
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! My hand is still here! I haven't been dissolved! Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon! I'm nothing like a normal human who would fall apart as soon as they touch—
Miss Siegewien? If you're present, Miss Siegewien, please come forward and attend to the defendant.
Siegewien? Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. Let me see. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court, Miss Siegewien.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. These indicate that she was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
¿Cómo?
Thank you, Miss Siegewien. Lady Farina, you may return to the defendant's stand.
Oh wait, what did she just say? I didn't get dissolved! Shouldn't that be enough to prove my innocence?
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around Poisson.
La buena estaba dispuesta a matarse por no contar la verdad.
However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, on the off chance that something entirely unexpected might occur, we don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to serve as an expert witness. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used. Farina could have...
I can't believe...
¿Qué está pasando? Es imposible que Farina no supiera las consecuencias de tocar el agua. No parece ella misma. ¿Acaso defender su identidad como arconte es aún más importante que su propia vida? A lo mejor hace tiempo que se ha rendido.
Listen to me, everyone. Please don't give me such cold and disdainful looks. What happened just now didn't prove a single thing. Think about it. How can you conclusively prove that an Archon can't also be affected by the primordial seawater? Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare to just put my hand in that kind of water?
Chucha.
Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me. I swear, I really am your Archon.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just too stacked against her now.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any way left for Farina
Claro.
to win.
Estamos cagados.
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. She's too stacked against her now.
Pero algo me dice que no es culpa de ella, weón.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is guilty.
Chucha.
We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal to render the final verdict on the charges.
Lito Oe dice 15 horas. Amigo, talla inextensible, que bola,
According to the
XD.
judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique
no.
d'Analyse Cardinal, Farina is
No. Estoy jugando Genshin. Estoy eternamente aquí en la historia. Se me pasó la hora. Bueno, me quedé dormido, creo que una hora, entre las 6 y las 7 de la mañana. Pero me desperté y se me espantó el sueño. Y aquí estoy. Puta que estoy en la parte muy buena de la historia, pues bueno, y no puedo parar. Así como cuando te enganchan con un libro y no puedes parar de leer. Ya.
Lito Oe dice, pero no has parado de hacer directo, XD.
Es que el Genshin, yo lo transmito en vivo, pues. O sea, de hecho después lo subo a YouTube y está toda la historia de Genshin que juego yo en mi canal. Entonces, claro, sí, estoy en directo. Sí, llevo 15 horas.
Lito Oe dice, entiendo.
No, si fuera otro juego o si fuera solo farmeo, no, pues no lo hago en directo. Pero como está interesante, estoy en directo. Por cierto, ¿cómo estamos? Antes de escuchar el veredicto, te hago un deseo.
Se lee pit, güey. Ay, no.
Algo me va a decir que va a decir inocente, porque técnicamente sí el arconte, pero no al mismo tiempo. A ver. Entonces, veamos. El resultado. En vista de la volvamos a menos. En vista de la decisión de la analizadora de instrucción cardenalicia, yo declaro Furina. Oh.
Well, what's wrong?
Ya
What's
todo.
the Oratrice's verdict?
¿Será que...?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Entonces, ¿qué pasó? ¿También la cara culpable?
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty,
Arconte Hidro, culpable.
to be punished via the death sentence.
¿A pena de muerte? ¡A conche tu madre! No, hermano, esto se está volviendo brigio. La cagó.
The death sentence?
Conche tu madre, weón.
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an unexpected twist.
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us the truth. How did things escalate this quickly?
Me pasé, po.
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Bueno, hizo un engaño de 500 años.
Yeah, even Vacher wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial
Claro, po.
disappearances case.
Pero, mira, justo estaba pensando lo mismo. Lo más extraño es que el proyecto dice Arconte Hidro, no solamente Furina, po.
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Farina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first place. But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does this mean?
¿Nos va a contar la historia o no, la desgracia?
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
¿Qué pasó?
Fremine! Oh, you finally made it. I assume this means you've completed your mission?
Mm-hmm.
Antes no estaba acá.
Any mission Father assigns to me will always be top priority.
Prioritario.
Is that the first prophecy slate?
¿La encontró? Se cayó en el agua. ¿Pero cómo la consiguió? Si estaba lleno del agua mala esa.
Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to try and find the missing slate.
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long time to get around some dangerous stretches of water. But has the trial already concluded? Then doesn't that mean I've come too late? Oh no. Father will be disappointed in me.
No, llegaste justo a tiempo.
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate.
Dele.
Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and would like you to come here and confirm their contents.
Vamos. Hoy Furina sigue ahí.
What is it?
El antiguo Arconte Hidro usando su poder divino. ¿El Arconte Hidro convirtió a la Oceanía en humanos? Escucha.
I believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Farina, and we've already proven that she's not the Hydro Archon. So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been kinda talking about?
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Están relacionadas con la realidad.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other 3 stone slates. Paima will do her best to help you remember.
Uy, textos. Observa la imagen en la placa para extraer de ella la información clave. Entre los incidentes apuntados en el manual de la entrevista, encuentra las situaciones relacionadas con la imagen de la placa corroborada por la apariencia. Ay, ¿por lo que estoy entendiendo? Ah, bueno, espera. El nivel de agua o fuente de interfaz aumentará conforme avanza el progreso. Corroboración. Cuando corrobores la veracidad, toda la placa de... Debo admitir que esto está interesante, ¿eh?
The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power, and then the
Oceanias.
Oceanids turn into humans. Does that mean that Fontainians are transformed to Oceanids? Oh, Paima wasn't expecting that. But if Oceanids can turn into humans, then perhaps this process can be reversed as well. The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment down upon them. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontainians were branded with their original sin. Does this mean that the original sin and the Hydro Archon sin are the same thing? The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone else? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontainians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro Archon crying on her throne, and so on. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after that incident, it was just a question of when and not if.
Los sucesos reales asociados con la placa profética. Bien. Una placa piedra encontrada. ¿Qué dice? La historia del futuro de Fontaine es la primera de todas ellas, la que había desaparecido, pero más tarde encontró. Su imagen parece relatar al anterior arconte a Hydro usando su poder divino, tras lo cual las Oceanías se convierten en... Resulta que la gente de Fontaine puede ser disuelta por el agua del mar primigenio. Bache secuestró y disolvió... No, nadie. Gracias a la protección de 2 miembros ya fallecidos, no se disolvió. ¿Esta? No,
Quite
puta.
right. Let's think about this some.
Fíjate. Hola, Nico. ¿Cómo estás? Aquí estoy en el juicio. Muchas gracias también por el follow.
N1C0KZ- nos acaba de seguir. Muchas gracias,
Gracias,
Oe.
Oe. Sí. Si aún no llegas a esta parte del juicio final, mejor vete porque te vas a hacer un spoiler más o menos importante. De hecho, ya estoy haciendo un spoiler importante con lo que estoy mostrando, aunque quizás no tenga contexto. Pero eso. Así que muchas gracias por seguirme. Pero sí. Aviso desde ya. Si es que no quieres spoiler. Mucho gusto. Espero vernos otro día. Ay. Pero sí, sí. ¿Viste? El que avisa no es traidor. Ah, 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 ah. Ahora. Toda la razón. Sí, 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 sí. ¿Viene de alguna raid de casualidad? ¿O me contrato así X? Bueno, igual llevo casi 14. Porque me han hecho durante la noche y lo que llega del día, me han hecho un montón de raids hoy. Creo que como 5 raids. Uno, dos, tres, 4 raids. Ah, vale. Perfecto, muchas gracias. Como dije, yo por lo general juego los viernes, bueno, de viernes para sábado, Genshin. Ahora estoy haciendo una excepción porque esta semana ha sido un desorden. Pero ahora sí, por lo general yo prendo martes, jueves, viernes y a veces el sábado. El otro día de semana juego muchos juegos. De hecho, más temprano estuve jugando Doom Eternal. También juego juegos de la Switch, de la Nintendo Switch. También juego de Steam, de Game Pass. Juego un popurrí de cosas a lo largo de la semana. Sí, sí. Los viernes, por lo general, desde las 10 de la noche, hora chilena, juego algo, X, como una hora, y luego Genshin, hasta que me quede dormido o sea muy tarde. Y los sábados juego un RPG que se llama Bravely Default, y lo voy alternando sábado por medio con un juego de Digimon, que también es de RPG. Así que eso. Cuídate. Hoy son las 2, yo tu madre. Si vas a almorzar, anda a almorzar, provecho. Pero no, no. Si te quedas acá, te vas a hacer spoiler. Yo te aviso. Así que eso. Así que sin más, voy a continuar. Muteame o ciérrame, pero te aviso. Por favor, no te hagas spoiler porque aquí vienen los spoilers brígidos. Ah, ok, ok, ok. Ya, vale, vale. Y si es que como yo detesto los spoilers, yo por eso te estoy avisando. Ok. Entonces, a ver, pero de verdad tengo que corroborar esto. Es que no tengo cómo corroborar que la gente de aquí ya para allá, bueno. Ahí lo dejas para el final. Una placa de piedra profética que esta dice, retrata a la Celestia flotando en el cielo y a la conde Hidro y su pueblo arrollados mientras la miran. Aún así, parece que Celestia los castigó. Claro, porque están tirando ahí rayitos, fum, 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 para acá. Y no, es como fuego y rayos ahí. Entonces, claramente algo pasó y están pidiendo disculpas. No creo que, a menos que esto sea antes y esto fue después. No, no, no sé, bueno. A ver, ¿cómo puedo corroborar esto? Sí, 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 sí. Lo que no sé es con qué historia, pues no quiero tirar a la chunta porque estoy intentando. Ya, esta sí la puedo corroborar con la tacita. Esta de acá. La bruja N se comunicó contigo a través de tu conciencia. Ella cree que la profecía ocurrirá, pero no hay que perder esperanza. No, ¿cómo que no?
Let's think about this some more.
Entonces, esta es.
That doesn't sound quite right. Let's think about this some more.
Como detective soy muy bien, o muy buen informático. Conchetumare, bueno. Ya, a ver. Chetumare. ¡Ah! La puta madre. A ver. Bueno. Ay. Puede ser suelta en el agua por el mar primigenio. Mm. Sinceramente está complicado, weón. Me está contando encontrar relación para corroborar la historia, weón. A ver, estamos corroborando que fuimos castigados por una deidad. ¿Será esto?
Sound quite.
Ya, me rindo. Intenté hacerlo. Intenté hacerlo bien, pero es que no encuentro. No encuentro relación con lo que está pasando aquí. Con lo que me ponen acá, po. Está complicado, weón. A ver. A ver, a ver. Estamos. Está siendo castigado por Celestia. Celestia se supone que es el nivel más allá de acá, po. ¿Esto?
That doesn't sound quite.
No, esto no tiene sentido.
N1C0KZ __ dice, esa es Furina.
Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. The true sin of the Hydro Archon that Nervalek mentioned.
Pero poneme eso, por concha tu madre.
People of Fontaine by Celestia, as recorded on the stone slates.
N1C0KZ __ dice, Q te dije.
Pero que tiene razón eso, po, o sea. No, es que estaba muy complejo, claro. Ya pasó, pero. Ay. Pero no exactamente así, po, porque a esa la están enjuiciando. Pero acá la estamos enjuiciando de que no es. O sea, pero es por otro tipo de delito, po. La están enjuiciando, pero no sabemos por qué. Acá la estamos enjuiciando porque nos engañó, po. Entonces yo estaba buscando esa relación por corroborar que la están castigando. Ah, ya no importa, ya. A ver.
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that Fontainians can be dissolved in primordial seawater, and the first stone slate tells us that long ago, the Hydro Archon used her power to turn Oceanids into humans. This might be the reason that Fontainians can dissolve.
Sí, justamente estaba pensando así. Ya, si se pueden disolver, es porque en un tiempo se disolvieron. A ver. Retrata al arconte vivir hundiéndose en el mar y rodeada de muchas personas. ¿Lo de Nadia?
N1C0KZ __ dice, esa es Neubi.
The stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea.
N1C0KZ __ dice, no nada JSKSJSKSJs. N1C0KZ __ dice, el otro es.
Lo que retrata coincide casi a la perfección con la profecía de Fontaine. Al final, toda la gente de Fontaine se disolverá en el mar. Solo quedará la arconte Hidro sentada en su trono divino mientras llora. Me pudo contener temporalmente.
The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society, but not many people believed it at first. The fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontainians to dissolve. It seems increasingly likely that the prophecy may come true if we hadn't dealt with it in time. Things could have gone
ese
very
sí era.
badly.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the form of an oceanid. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that her sin was actually Fontaine's original sin. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take part in a trial meant to make her stay.
Claro.
The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropide was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what.
Sí, solo cuando hay tiempo.
The stone slate's content can all be verified by recent events. If we combine what we know together, loads of truths should come to light.
Corroboración completada. ¡Vamos!
Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now. So that's how you can make sense of it. But then it feels like we're going to have to share some truly shocking revelations.
Let's hear them.
La primera placa demuestra que la gente de Fontaine no es realmente humana. Según la primera placa, Fontaine... Oh, esta más bonita.
Incredible. Linny, did you hear that?
Sí.
We're not real humans.
All Fontainians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontainians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial, all of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Indeed.
La segunda placa demuestra que el pecado del arconte Hidro fue crear a la gente de Fontaine. Según la segunda placa, crear gente de Fontaine es el pecado de... ¿Pero por qué siempre la segunda opción es como más fea aún?
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
Claro, o sea, entonces mataron a la arconte o la condenaron a muerte al antiguo.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese. The twists of history are often the most unexpected of all.
En cuanto a la tercera placa, sigo pensando que debería ir después de la cuarta. La tercera y la cuarta placa deberían ir en orden contrario.
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate?
La cuarta placa representa la profecía.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Claro. Y después ella se tira al mar y va a estar con su pueblo.
Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many pieces of the truth. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information using a different power source. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But since we only had 3 slates at the time, I was unable to come to a full conclusion. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded within. If everything goes well, we should finally be informed of the unadulterated truth.
Well? Did you get it?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. I will try to briefly summarize it for you.
Creo que va a haber cinemática.
Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontainians and the sin of the Hydro Archon
No,
are
no
both
cinemática.
In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land.
Sí, hay cinemática. En los orígenes de Fontaine, la antigua arconte percibió que sus familiares, es decir, las Oceanidas, deseaban vivir en tierra.
The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the 7, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process.
Mimics.
But if Fontainians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Oceanids. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
No somos humanos.
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
Y si alguien de Fontaine se casa con alguien de Liyue, ¿el que nace entonces es un híbrido? Chuata. ¿Y si él toca... ¿Y si el hijo toca el agüita, qué le pasará? ¿Se transformará en la mitad nomás?
That's way too much information for me. I think
O nunca
I'm just going to
tendrán
pretend I
descendencia.
never heard a single thing. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
En todo caso.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontanian, but it does answer a lot of our questions.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates'
¿No?
respective positions are, in fact, correct.
Entonces, ¿qué redacta la tercera?
A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than oceanids. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea.
Ya.
The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment and justice. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold a trial to determine her fate. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice.
Ah, o sea, estaba profetizado que le iban a pillar.
Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this trial to avoid fulfilling the prophecy,
Pero la profecía está tomando su curso tranquilitamente.
in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold. So now, it seems, we're the ones making sure it comes true.
What should we do?
Es como si el destino lo controlara todo.
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled. Is this what it feels like to be a prisoner of fate?
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be fulfilled soon?
O quizá en 200 años.
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions.
Oh.
About the fourth slate, you probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass, yes? However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be a small warning of something far worse to come.
Y aún está por ocurrir.
As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before.
¿A la ballena?
This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the disaster.
¿Cuál es el verdadero origen de la catástrofe? La ballena, la ballena.
It was both
Sí, la
dream
ballena.
and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the disaster.
Uy. ¡Cinemática! ¡Uy, concha tu madre! La ballena. El Tartaraz por fin salió. Nah, pensé que Flynn iba a hacer algo, weón. De verdad pensé que iba a hacer algo. El Tartaraz. Oh. Se cayó, ¿no? Hay que ir a recatarlo ahora.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the opera house? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
Es la ballena que Nobile vio cuando era pequeño.
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance here. That whale does not belong to Teyvat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all the while.
¿Y su llanto es el mar primigenio?
It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause for the rising sea levels. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea, its next step will be...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessels with primordial seawater.
Sus venas y arterias.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians nigh impossible to resist. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontanians.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again once it's managed to recover its strength?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land far sooner. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
Sí, pues weón. Che tu madre.
Battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like this. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy, all we need to do to stop the prophecy would be to find a way to beat it up, right?
Correcto.
It is too late.
Por?
It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it has become practically integrated with the sea itself. Even if the entirety of Teyvat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim
Juicio.
towards some other world.
That's not something I will accept.
Pero es que pelear por último, pues.
We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last hurdle is some impossible foe. That's
Indeed. That's not how a grand performance should end.
Claro.
I'll fight it to the end, no matter what.
Vamos.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
Lo que dijo la tipo, ¿no?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future.
Al final las cosas han tenido que salir así. Es imposible luchar contra el destino. Un momento. El destino.
Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners where the gods' gaze does not fall?
Sí, po. Los dioses no son omnipresentes, po.
Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Teyvat's future.
O sea, de que las cosas pasen, van a pasar. Pero nosotros podemos pelear con ellas, po. Tal vez, aunque la profecía se cumpla de verdad, si hay alguna manera de salvar a los demás, debe haber algo que se me esté escapando. Claro, Furina. ¿Qué es lo que iba a contarnos cuando estábamos en el baúl mágico antes? ¿Cuál es el secreto de Furina? ¿Aún no puedes salvar a Furina? Cuenta la verdad, pues desgraciada. Ay.
What's happening with the Oratrice?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
¡Yuya! No, no, hay que salvarla. ¡Ay, mira! Otra vez habló el weón. Bien, otra vez le pagaron al traductor. Déjale, tiene que chambear, weón. Ay. Ay. ¿El arconte anterior? Conchito, mira que te interesante esto. Ay, la patita. Ah, no, es Furina. ¿O no? ¿O es la real? O sea, es la... Ocupan el mismo modelo, pero con otra voz.
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
Furina, en paréntesis. Esa me pregunta.
You are not Furina. Who are you?
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor? Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving.
Oye, pero está pixeleado acá, po, qué wea.
The heavenly principles.
La orden celestial.
Deceiving the heavenly principles.
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous than a preordained national catastrophe, now does it? She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass.
Puta la wea.
And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this confounding conundrum. I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving everyone at the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor.
Fíjate. ¿Cómo?
Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the Hydro Archon, and not to mention the original sin of creating a new race of humans, I dare say she left me quite a colossal mess to clean up.
O sea, la sucedió, pero no siendo una deidad. Por eso tiene vida eterna, o sea, juventud eterna.
But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand.
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera ever known. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being.
Espera un momento. Tras convertirme en una diosa, separé mi divinidad de mi cuerpo y de mi espíritu para que solo quedara un ser igual a mi yo humana recién criada. Ya, o sea, la diosa hizo un cascarón y le dio poderes, pero no la parte de divinidesca.
The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina.
O sea, Focalor es la arconte y Furina es la humana, la parte humana.
She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings.
Pero porque sigue siendo humano, po.
But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be.
Pero la metiste en el medio cacho, sí, po.
Anyway, so then I cursed her.
El caso es que sí, pues la
All
maldijo.
part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydra Archon alone, weeping on her throne. In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydro Archon in the prophecy. Under the curse I placed on her, so long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness.
Claro, esa va a seguir viviendo, pero esta va a tener toda la culpa, po.
Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god from the prophecy, all to create a deceitful appearance of that prophecy coming to pass.
Claro. Ya. Creo que voy entendiendo.
I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
De todas formas, después voy a ver un video análisis porque puede que se me estén escapando algunas cosas.
But Farina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being.
Sí, po, se puede corromper, po. De hecho, se está corrompiendo.
I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure.
Ahora hay que darle
It
mucho
must have been
abracito.
torture for her.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for
Sí.
it. It's been 500 years. And all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time.
Ya, pero ¿qué pasó? ¿Alcanzamos a salvarlo, no? Tocó una lágrima de Furina. Si no recuerdo mal, la lágrima contiene las emociones más fuertes que hay. Cuando alguien tiene una sensibilidad al elemento hidro suficientemente alta, ocurre lo que pasó en la Fontana Alucine. Te conectas a la conciencia de una Oceanía. ¿Estaré en el mundo interno de Furina? ¿Furina? ¿Qué hace en el escenario? ¿Ah? Pensándolo bien, puede que no sea Furina, sino un reflejo de su yo interno. Oh, si pudiera hablar directamente con ella, tal vez averiguaría algo importante. He venido en busca de respuesta, así que no puedo dejar pasar esta oportunidad. Intentaré hablar con ella. Ay, se tomaron. Wow. Ay.
I'll race you there. Get him! Hey!
No, se mueve mucho.
Who permitted you to come onto the stage? Now, I understand your admiration for my august self, but I must ask you to keep to the rules. All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not distract me from my performance. Oh, do not I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. I must, at all times, display the utmost elegance and nobility.
Nada, es imposible hablar con ella. En su interior sigue interpretando papel de arconte hidro. ¿Qué gran determinación tendrá para haber creado este muro de su interior y su subconsciente? Tengo que encontrar la manera de hablar con ella. Un besito, por favor, un besito. ¿Apagando los reflectores?
Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough.
Oye.
No one escapes my sight.
Loaded.
Ay. Mira, tengo una furina. Ay, ay.
With all my strength.
Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards?
¿Qué pasa? ¿Se apagó dos de una?
Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
I'll race you there. Get him.
Ay.
Hunt them down. XF Iliux dice, Holanda.
Oli, ¿cómo estás? Te aviso al tiro. Si juegas Genshin y aún estás en Contain, te vas a hacer un spoiler. Así que avisado estás. Ya apago todos los focos. Seguro que en el interior de Furina esas luces simbolizaban a las personas que la miraban.
XF Iliux dice, Nana no me quita el sueño.
A mí tampoco,
XF Iliux dice, jajaja.
¿Y yo cuánto? 16 horas en vivo, conchetumare, weón. ¿Y qué fueron estas palabras que escuché antes? ¿Será la verdadera voz de interior de Furina? Ah, una entrada. ¿Cómo acabo de... aquí?
XF Iliux dice, está enfermo Bruce Wayne XD.
De hecho, quería parar antes de esto, pero el juicio no para, weón. No quiero cortar todo esto así como de golpe, weón. Parece que va a empezar un espectáculo. Vamos a ver. Ya, pero antes tengo que ir al ñoma. Voy y vuelvo. Parece que el espectáculo va a comenzar. Veamos tu verdadero yo interior Furina.
XF Iliux dice, yo me quedé pegado reviendo solo leveling.
Ah. Pero no estoy en el público. Ya, qué estafa, weón. El espejito. Ay, qué tan linda.
Farina. Farina.
Despierta, mierda.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
XF Iliux dice, se nota que vas a tener que llorar por Furina XD.
Sí, weón.
Be not nervous. Be not afraid.
De hecho, la tengo en mi
I
equipo.
am before you.
De hecho, cuando la quise sacar, si no me equivoco, creo que la saqué cuando volvió de nuevo, pues. Cuando estaba en un principio no tiré por ella. Aunque mi equipo está como healer, no como DPS. Pero bueno, así, pues bueno, ya me encariñé con ella.
Wait a moment. You're mirror me? How can this be?
Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not bad. Let's go with that.
Sí.
Mirror me. What do you wish to say?
The prophecy. Have you heard of it?
What prophecy? Wait. I know. I think. I don't know why, but it's in my head. The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Oh, very good. You know it well.
¿Es de Dios o de Malta?
What's going on? I can't seem to remember anything clearly. The only thing I know for sure is this prophecy. Will it really come to pass?
Sí.
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you. Disaster will come to Fontaine sooner or later. Things will develop just as the prophecy declared. There is no escaping it.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a Fontainian just like them. Will I dissolve too?
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world precisely to give people a chance to turn things around. It is the reason why you met me today. I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer somewhat.
Un poquito, concha, fueron 500 años, concha tu madre.
Oh, so there's still hope after all. Goodness, you frightened me. You spoke so much and with so much certainty. As for the suffering, well, I will admit that the first thing that came to mind was, why do I have to be the one to suffer? But if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? So if I've already met you as my magical meeting in this world, if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side, and my pain on the other, is it not obvious where the scales should tilt?
You truly are the perfect human. My ideal.
Sí, es Malta.
I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs to you.
Bueno, es para mostrar que esta es la ría del Arconte.
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its Hydro Archon. I need you to play a role. That of the new Archon.
Play as a god?
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. You must never let anyone suspect your identity. If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But should your identity be revealed, then all hope will be lost.
Por eso estuvo hasta la intención de matarse con el agua, si es que con eso demostraba lo contrario.
But how will I do this? A human assuming the role of a god without being exposed.
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. You simply need to play the role of a god as humans imagine them to be. Being a human yourself, I'm sure you already know what such an entity would be like. Remember, your true challenge will not be pursuing divinity, but contending against humanity.
I'm still not sure I understand, but I'll try. I'll try to do this.
Bueno, ella aceptó. Aceptó su destino.
So,
O sea,
how
su
long am I
misión.
going to have to play this role?
Hasta siempre.
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, many years. You will endure and not grow old until your task ends.
¿Hasta que la termines? O sea, cuando termine, ¿se le va a quitar la maldición?
But I promise you, all will eventually end in a magnificent and dramatic trial, and everyone will be saved.
A trial, huh? How exciting. I'll be looking forward to it.
¿Cómo que acto 2, conchetumare? ¿Hasta qué hora voy a estar aquí, weón? Suéltenme. Ay. O sea, no me quejo, pero es que el tema es que me van a llamar a almorzar, po. Voy a perder el almuerzo por terminar la historia. Bueno, o voy a tener que terminar el directo, pero no voy a cerrar el juego, pues lo voy a dejar ahí. Y después yo la edición lo pego. Ay.
The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? To be honest, I still don't know. Perhaps I should first try to act natural.
Puedes actuar como pomposa.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the Opera Epiclese. I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. Indeed, I am Verena de Fontaine, your new Archon. In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god, but it will be my honor to guide you all. As the god Focalor, the god of justice, I shall do all within my power to lead you into an age of fairness and justice.
Terminar con decoro.
Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any questions or suggestions, please send them to the Maison Cardinalise. The future of Fontaine will require us to work together, after all. This should do it.
No?
I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able to convey my thoughts just fine. Okay.
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more assertive.
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there at the end.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest. What's the difference between her and an ordinary person, then?
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might just be a Maison-backed puppet.
Ay.
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of being a fake? Oh, this is bad. If I get right, Mirmi said that I just need to play the role of a god as humans imagine them to be. Calm down, Farina. Think. What do the people want? How would they imagine a god to speak and act? Assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One who can dispel all doubt. That is the character I'm fated to play. Oh, very good, my people. Only ones such as you are deserving of my rule. Now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim ownership of this opera house, would the children of Fontaine follow them? Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you are qualified to witness wondrous trials alongside my august self, here in this opera house. You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. I thought it was a debut that suited the atmosphere. Now then, let us be reintroduced.
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera house?
Her personality. It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my accession speech. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your ardor for justice. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, I say that justice is most fragrant when it blooms amid sin. The scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of its God. On one side, it must carry fairness
Ya,
and
está hablando como la
justice.
Farina que conocemos.
And on the other, praise and applause. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us light the fires and drink to the future of Fontaine. There is no trouble in this world that justice cannot solve. All that is needed is for you, my people, to believe in it, heart and soul.
Sí.
So long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the Opera Epiclese, so long as I stand before the Oratrice, I shall even judge the gods of this world!
Ahí, acto 3 y final. ¡Una camita! ¡Ay!
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the follow-up for your perusal.
Come now, was I not just at the Opera House in person? Leave these kinds of things to Neuvillette. Besides, none of these trials were the one that I'm looking forward to the most.
If I may be so impertinent, what kind of trial are you truly looking forward to?
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous trial. A trial to end all things.
That's true. I fear I lack the ability to grasp your divine thought, Lady Archon.
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, to your duties. The trial I await. It will come one day.
El de ella.
Lady Farina, I don't know what to say. Thank you for agreeing to see me.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Long have you stood in line to meet me, have you not? Oh, I'm afraid that's just an inevitable consequence of my divine charm. All right, Deuteria, is it? How is your son's illness?
You remembered me, and you knew of my family, too. He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was the one who forced me to seek an audience with you, and to bring your words back to him.
Oh, good. Very good. If this should happen again in the future, please do not hesitate to come and tell me. Going down to citizens' homes every so often, while not usual practice, should serve...
You're such a gentle and wise God. Thank you once again, on behalf of my son.
Che, igual interpretaba muy bien su papel, pero claro, interpretando el papel.
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the specific parameters you asked to take note of, I'm afraid things still don't look good.
I see. It's as I thought, then. As your god, I did already expect this, but I wanted to see how far your human wisdom would allow you to analyze it. All manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass. Forget it. That's not something you need to worry about right now.
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute is also trying to find a way to counter the rising water levels.
Really? Have they found anything?
I'm afraid that they haven't found any effective solution thus far.
Is that so? Well, no wonder. This issue has reached the realm of the gods, after all. Still, their spirit is praiseworthy. The day is finally over. I haven't had a moment to breathe this whole time.
Pobrecita.
But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. There are no longer any voices of suspicion. Maybe this is fine. I just need to keep going, and everyone will be saved. All right, Farina, don't think too hard about this. You need rest. Tomorrow's a new day.
¿Cómo que acto 4? ¿Cómo que acto 4? Se supone que son 3 actos, ¿no? Pues,
Lady
weón.
Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary of the follow-up.
There'll be no need for that. I've seen them already. There's no need to go back over scenes I've witnessed in person before.
Lady Farina, I've waited so long for this chance to see you in this manner.
Claro, ya han pasado quizás 200 años y está con lo mismo y lo mismo, lo mismo.
Indeed, my dear loyal citizen. This joyous moment is an honor for us both.
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near Poisson.
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me informed should anything come up at the Institute.
don't think I let anything slip today. I must show the people that there is nothing to worry about. I just don't know when these days will end. I feel utterly exhausted. Best to rest early today, too.
¿Cómo que acto 5? ¿Y cuánto acto va a tener esta obra aún? Ya. Era un acto por día.
It's like a dream being able to speak with you up close like this. I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame Deoteria, almost 20 generations ago.
And what a fine family yours is indeed. It brings me great joy to meet such a faithful believer.
Los remedios son lo que se dice.
Line most ardent.
Surely you exaggerate, Lady Farina. My lady?
What is it, good citizen?
Are you crying?
Really now? I didn't even notice. This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god whose dominion is the waters, can I?
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your power, then. Oh, Archon, I am honored to have witnessed it. Honored and...
Pobrecita, weón, conche tu madre, weón, mi corazón. Qué manera de ver a pobres llorando hoy.
So lonely. Just how much longer? Hundreds of years must have passed by now. Perhaps the show must go on for hundreds more.
Sí, pues yo creo que ya a los 100 años ya está media quebrada, pues bueno. Y han pasado 500 años.
I never imagined that it would hurt so much. Have I reached my limit? No. Perhaps I reached it long ago. Do I want to tell someone? Anyone about this? But would that not destroy all I've done so far? I've conducted so many investigations across the centuries, but there's not even a sliver of hope that we might break the prophecy. All I can do is keep heart. I must maintain this act. It is the only way to save Fontaine. Please, mirror me. You have to succeed.
Ay.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone.
Oye, que le han pagado al actor del prota para esta temporada, weón. Le han pagado caleta. Por fin. El weón dice, hoy se come, cabros. Hoy laburo.
Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone,
Your people are more than willing to share your burden with you.
Sí. ¿Esa es mi voz? ¿Será este el momento en que estoy hablando con el Furina en el baúl mágico gigante? No, pensé que este acto también se presentaría en el mundo de interna de Furina. Pero por fin podría saber qué es lo que iba a contar.
Share my burden.
That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone.
Cuenta, po, chiche tu madre, po.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you can still choose to confide in someone. Just share it with me. I'm what you'd call a witness.
A witness? Yes, I've heard that you came to Teyvat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you
Claro.
never... And if Teyvat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then you're just...
Yo sería un espectador.
If that's the case... He's right. I could confide in him, couldn't I? But if things don't play out as expected, the people of Fontaine will be the ones to pay the price.
Cuenta la cosa, por favor, amiga.
Farina, you shouldn't be selfish. But what if it's really alright? Farina, you've worked so hard for so long. Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone in whom you can confide your frustrations and sorrows? If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, it might never come by again.
La pobre va a tener que estar un par de ciclos en el psicólogo, weón.
Think about it long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. I am Farina, the Archon of Fontaine. Everything will surely get better. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance until the curtains fall.
Mira, están los pescados igual que allá, weón. Puta la weón.
Fine.
Puta la weón. El deber ante todo, weón.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
No. Me estáis conchetumadreando. No, conchetumadre. Por eso no me quiere contar, porque no sabe. No. No. Pero no puede ser tan hija de puta, conchetumadre. Bastarda culiá. No, weón, yo la mato y me quedo con Furina, weón. Conchetumadre. Oh. No, pero... Weón, conchetumadre. No. No.
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must first deceive yourself.
Weón, sabía que era triste la historia, pero weón,
She did very
no
well.
lo dimensioné
If
tanto.
she had let her resolve
Che tu
falter
madre.
even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine would have been doomed to the most tragic fate.
Pero weón. Sí, no, y eso que estamos recién comenzando, weón. Por tu madre, weón. Ay.
It seems that trusting humanity was the right decision after all.
I believe that I understand how your deception works, but that is only half the truth, is it not? How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine? That is the most important thing.
Ah, good, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine, yes?
Mm-hmm.
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness, and Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within the core chamber. It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine all along. Am I right?
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so, wouldn't it?
Se convirtió en la gnosis.
Alas, your understanding of this device still lacks sufficient depth. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill the god of justice.
Oh. Pero, o sea, ¿se va a sacrificar ahora ella?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take down the
Juicio.
god of justice, it will also take down the divine throne upon which she has been placed. I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose while Farina suffered? My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnitium within the Oratrice. But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used to provide power to Fontaine. The vast majority has been, had to be, accumulated to enact this death sentence.
Chucha.
It was all a part of your plan then? Both the trial and the sentence?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia had it only been used for that purpose. Almost all of it has now been stored within the Oratrice. But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking the rules established by Celestia, and breaking through the institution that is the Seven.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent, you must be...
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet.
But...
Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we?
No.
The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign. And this is the face you make.
all you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception worked. Hydro Dragon, don't cry.
Ah. A ver, déjeme entender. Cuando a esta la sentenciaron, este one tenía que haber sido el siguiente arconte. Por ella no se mató. Y se hizo la réplica para que así mantuviera todo y llega este momento, para así salvar que la profecía se cumpliera, pero realmente no al mismo tiempo. Mm. Sí, sí. Pero ellos, claro, pero ellos perdieron el coso y ahora los arcontes tomaron el control, po. Y bueno, y después de eso, en parte también fue la guerra de los arcontes, po. Pero sí. Entonces ahora. Ah, ya. Vale. No es que iba a hacer sin arconte. Hizo una cuestión para atrás, po. Ya, vale. Pero ahora va a tomar el rol de arconte, po. Sí, po, sí.
I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Were they not guilty of essentially the same crime? Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possessed. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be returned to you? Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing human existence itself. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontainians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be Fontaine's original justice. In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, justice is the continuation of that existence. Defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on. That should be the justice enthroned over all others. At this point, we, whether it be myself or all other Fontainians, have shouldered the burden of this sin for far too long. Judex Nervillet, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an elemental sovereign, what
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Judex, I see now that that was your idea too. At last, I now understand the true purpose behind this position. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have even attempted to feel as they feel. You are a devious one, Focalor. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
Claro. Pero gracias a eso, ahora la gente de Fontaine va a poder vivir, pues, weón. Tremendo sacrificio, weón. Ay.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Nervalette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
No. Ay. Conche tu madre. No.
I, Iudex Neuvillette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
No, Amber. Hoy no. Cállate un poco. Ay, tu madre, weón. Ay. Me quema, sí, weón. Che tu madre. Ay. Está acuático, weón.
What just happened? Has the death sentence been carried out?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection? I have a feeling
Game
that
Master
something
dice,
huge just
duerme un
happened.
rato, jajajaja.
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved, I assume whatever happened was good for us.
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to that beast.
Didn't you say just a moment ago that it can't be defeated?
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power of the Primordial Sea from that creature. We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry.
¿Tú eso acaba de pasar ahora?
Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice.
¿Yo?
The root of the calamities befalling Fontaine, the beast that enacts the prophecy. Its name is the all-devouring narwhal. Come with me, traveler. The hour of execution has come.
Espera. ¿Ahora? ¿No puedo tomar el desayuno antes? Pues Moby Pues Moby Dick. Ay. Hermanos, no me quieren soltar, conche tu madre. Ay. ¿Cuánto ya llevo ya? ¿2 horas? Debieron haberme puesto un castrito que dijera, cuidado, se viene para largo. ¡Ay, conche tu madre, no! ¡Impacta al tiro! ¡Puta madre, weón! ¡Ay, ballena! ¡Ay, conche tu madre!
XF Iliux dice, mira arpones, jajaja.
No tendré arpones, pero tengo un conejo. Uy. Nada de daño, weón. Ay. No, se fue. ¿Qué es eso? ¿Se mata? ¿O no se mata? Ay. ¡Ay! La colita. Voy a demorar caleta, weón. Bueno, tengo clorinte. Me tiene que ayudar. ¡Ah, conchetumare! ¿Qué? No, ay, pero qué pasó?
XF Iliux dice, a sufrir XD. Into the shadows.
Ay. Oh, no sé patrones, no sé debilidades, no sé ni una mierda, weón, chito Mario. Menos mal que era que comía, weón. ¿No?
XF Iliux dice, quiten el escudo con agua y fuego.
Ay. Un chito Mario, weón. ¡Oh, Furina! ¡Cúrame! Ay. Ay. ¡Toma un conejo! ¡Ay! ¡Ay, corre! ¡Ay, corre! ¡No, concha de madre! ¡Ah! ¡Me va a matar! ¡Ay! ¡No, Furina, cúrame! ¡Que me matan! Uy. ¡Que tu madre! ¡Ay! 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 Ay. Tu madre. ¡Pero que se mueve mucho!
XFI Liux dice, quita escudo y noquearás a la ballena en el suelo atacas con todos los ki te ganas menos agua.
Fallé, ¿cierto? ¿O me muere mucho? Porque creo que no le quité el escudo, po. ¿O sí? Me vieron que estaba muy manco. Ay. O perdí. Se robó la gnosis, ¿o no?
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but oh well.
¿Y tú quién eres?
It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me.
Espera.
I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the meantime.
¿De verdad? Como me muere mucho, ¿me dieron la victoria? Porque no le había dañado nada, pues. Le había hecho la nada de daño. Chucha. Bueno, al menos sobreviví. Y eso ya es importante. Sobreviví con Amber. No me la mataron. Estuvo a punto, sí.
XFI Liux dice, poder del guión Haya.
Un Deus ex máquina. Pinche tu madre. Y este es el jefe para el farmear a Furino, ¿no? De casualidad. Porque si así, voy a sufrir. Voy a sufrir. Voy a necesitar ayuda, sí o sí, para este jefe.
XFI Liux dice, si es el boss de Furina. XFI Liux dice, yo te lo he menato.
Vale. Ya tengo, bueno, igual, menos mal que tengo amigos que me pueden ayudar.
Dice, les pego 2 golpes y ya.
Buena. Sí, porque contra weón de... El weón tenía... Pero el weón tenía un escudo de electro, ¿no? ¿Por qué? Que ahora ya no tengo defensa contra... bajar la weá, po. A lo más con Amber, pero se mueve mucho, po, weón. Al menos si alguien si alguien lo distrae, yo puedo pegarle con Amber y ya me pega más o menos decente, pero tengo que pegarle, po.
XFI Liux dice, no puedes usar agua.
Sí, po, y mi full DPS es la señora Cloro, po, es electricidad. No le daría nada de daño.
Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point, but they bumped into one another earlier than I thought. What a blunder. I suppose I'll have to swing my sword 3 million times as penance.
Es pedazo, po. No me acuerdo de tomar otro. ¿Te aprendís?
That power. Who are you exactly?
Ese quiere discípula de Dios de Celestia. Ese mami. Pero no me hagan spoiler.
Paimon has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must be Child's master. Skirk, right?
Skirk.
It's just that he gave us the impression that she was the less talkative person.
I simply did not have anything to say to
Está bonita, weón.
But you, on the other hand, managed to defeat the all-devouring narwhal without using power from beyond this world.
Gente débil, yo. Ah, gente débil. ¿Le está hablando a Paimon?
So you may speak to me as equals.
¿Quién tendría a ese monstruo como mascota? ¿Qué tipo de persona tendría Devorasteria como mascota?
I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an all-devouring narwhal. That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. The only thing that creature has going for it is its looks.
Pero weón.
All in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk? I think you might have missed the point.
The point being?
Well, being that this pet almost destroyed an entire nation. So what sort of person is your master? Well, child's master's master. Wait, is that right?
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, I assumed you did.
Claro.
His name is Sertologi.
Sertologi. Sertologi. ¿Cómo?
I am unfamiliar with that name.
Y este bueno es viejo.
Huh. So Master isn't sufficiently famous. How should I describe him then? Have you heard of the name The Fowl?
Poto. Acá me desconcentré un poquito. Caballero Protervo.
The Fowl?
Still nothing? Well, how about the Visionary?
Profeta
Vetterfamir then? Or Gold Rhine-daughter?
Bedrovnir Rinedotir.
Ooh, that one we've heard. Rhine-daughter's part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's mom, right?
Rinedotir. Y madre de Albedo. Oh.
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names and titles from my master. I don't actually know them either.
Lo dejo pasado, poto.
But I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhine-daughter. They are both pursuing some form of perfection.
Wait! Didn't you also mention a visionary person? Paimon didn't quite catch their name.
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient to inform you
¿De qué?
that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you.
Eso quiere decir que
Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into chaos.
Xuxa.
In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be in full swing.
Con la bruja de la Aquelarre, la cual era... Sí, la mamá de Clint. Sí, a eso los cacho. También lo que creó Simulanka, también pues era una de las brujitas del Simulanka que decidió activar su vida eterna, o sea, y quiso desactivar su juventud eterna. No es nada de lo que haya sorprenderse, Paimon. Desde hace tiempo sabemos y aceptamos que era evidente que la profecía se cumpliría. Pero...
Not to worry. Focalor has already managed to deceive the heavenly principles.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Conche tu madre. El arca.
All hands initiate emergency rescue. Hurry!
Hey, lend a hand!
Look, the water's receding.
Pero los animales y todo, weón.
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
O sea, la cuestión duró un par de segundos, po, weón, o unos minutos. Un minuto, así.
Are you alright?
We're saved. The prophecy was wrong.
Sí. Che, tu madre, weón. Qué la zorra. Ay.
Facility renewed.
Ah.
The Spina di Rasula talks post-disaster rebuilding. I recently visited Poisson to meet with Miss Navia, spokesperson of the Spina di Rasula, and we spoke about Poisson's present and future. Old soil can still give birth to new bloom, Miss Navia stated. Hope is like seeing a small cookie when you're starving late at night. You just need a little of it.
Ahora, lo que subió fue el mar, pero fue el mar salado, porque si fue mar salado, tiene que dejar la cagada en todos lados, pues, weón. Debería haberse piteado todo el pasto, todos los árboles, toda la weá, pues, weón. Ahora, si fue agua dulce, ya, podría haberse salvado. Pero bueno. En los detalles te pierdes, amigo.
Skyship Winglet, Lunar Brain of the Fontaine Research Institute.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás?
The various disputes that have arisen on account of Mr. Edwin have suddenly become a shield over the Institute, with Juicio turning out to be a once overlooked hidden gem. People always call the first researcher mad, but few know what to call the second. And should that latter person achieve a miracle, they would find it all the harder to find a word with which to classify him and his
Acá ando viendo el reñito. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the reports. Are those really Juicio and Navia? They sound like real big
Ay, un
shots.
regalito. Con sueño, cansado y con hambre. Pero por fin estamos por terminar. Ya falta poquito. Hace como una hora me llamaron. Hace como 40 minutos me llamaron para almorzar, pues, weón. Pero estaba en medio de esto, weón. Pero hermano, no hubo pausa entre la preparación, el juicio, la verdad la pelea y ahora el desenlace. Che, tu madre. No sé, por último déjame una pausa entre medio. No, todo seguía así. Pum, 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 pum. ¿Cuánto ya llevo? Así, ¿cuánto llevo? ¿Como 2 horas? ¿Casi 3 horas? ¿Solamente así, sin poder de detenerme? La wea, weón. Muchas gracias por contribuir con el jueguito. Las pausas. Creo que ahora en Atlan te avisan, po. Si hay una misión que es larga, te avisan. ¿O no? A ver, por los 7. De no ser porque nombran a Yuriel y Navia, Paimon no habría sabido de quién hablan en esta noticia. La pintan como persona súper importante. Siempre ha sido así.
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The Steambird's idea was pretty simple. With the disaster just having passed, we would print a free edition packed to the margins with good news to calm people down. The value for these big scoops lies in their inevitable follow-ups. We'll publish further reports and go into the stories behind those people. Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created a true flying ship, while Navia is leading people in the reconstruction of their home. I'm sure that these stories could draw even your well-traveled eye.
La verdad es que me quedo con ganas de saber más.
Paimon's curious too! Wait a minute. Didn't we watch everything happen from start to finish? What's there to be curious about?
Hola, Pepecillo. Aquí terminando la historia de Contain. Si no has visto nada de Contain, ándate, amigo. Te voy a hacer spoiler. Aviso. El cabeza no es traidor.
And that's exactly why I'd like you to come conduct interviews with me. You're the best incubators of news, if you haven't noticed. And also, with you around, I'm sure I'll get to see that Duke.
Are you sure? Hasn't he turned you down several times already?
Oh, this time will be different. Come on, let's head to Poisson first, and then make a trip to the fortress. There are some things you'll
Yo
only
cumplo
know
con
when you
avisar.
get there.
Por si acaso. Como a mí no me gustan los spoilers, yo aviso. Por fin me soltaron. Por fin. Uy, conche tu madre, weón. 3 horas aquí. Muévete, mierda. A ver. Nadie desarrolló. Ya. Planea. Ya. Vale. ¿Algo más por acá? No. No, sigo en el acto 5. Ya. Y tuvo más larga misión del... El fuerte es la cárcel, ¿o no? No me hablís de la cárcel, por favor. No me hablís de la cárcel. Mira que odié cada segundo en la puta cárcel. Cada segundo lo odié. De hecho, hoy comencé este directo en la cárcel.
Pepecillo / grillo dice, sí.
Comencé el directo hace... O sea, comencé Genshin. Hace ya... ¿Dónde está la hora? Aquí. Hace 14 horas en la cárcel.
Hey, there's something strange over there. Come on, let's
Estuve,
take a look.
¿cuánto? 4 horas hueveando en la cárcel. Que tu madre, encima me quedé dormido 1 hora. Así que no, ya. Yo creo que mucho por hoy, por Genshin. Es más, no sé si vaya a ser directo el viernes de Genshin. Y si lo hago, quizás va a ser algo muy corto. Pero yo quiero acostarme. O sea, quiero comer. Quiero comer y acostarme. Así que ya, vamos. A hacer el Genshin. Sí, weón, fue... Mira, hasta el momento, de todo lo que he jugado de Genshin, ha sido lo peor. De hecho, de los 2 capítulos que eran de la cárcel, pudo fácilmente haber sido un capítulo de la cárcel. Pero lo quisieron alargar y extender artificialmente a tal punto de que la cuestión era una asquerosidad, weón. De hecho, no voy a volver nunca más. Las misiones de mundo que hayan ahí, allá, las voy a hacer otro día. Pero hoy no. Así que, a ver. ¿Quién está vivo por acá? Bueno, hay gente vivo. Ahí está el booster. Jugando. Mira, lo voy a dejar con el booster que está jugando el ZZZ. Yo seguro también me tiene de fondo el bastardo. Lo único bueno de esa misión fue el puto. Sí, puede ser. Puede ser. Así que, eso. Muchas gracias por haberme acompañado el día de hoy, por haberse reído conmigo y de
XF
mí.
Iliux dice, calenturientos allá.
Gracias por haberme aguantado, por haber. Y también disculpe por haberle dado ansiedad en cómo juego. Sé que yo juego de una forma muy, muy particular, Genshin, que cualquiera que me ve, creo que sí, yo creo que doy ansiedad ver cómo juego. Pero bueno, así juego. Nos estamos viendo el martes. No sé con qué juego parte el martes. Quizá retome lo que tengo abandonado, por ejemplo, el Mario Galaxy, que ahí lo tengo hace rato sin manosear. Pero bueno, ahí veo. Así que eso, cuídense, pórtense bien, saluden al booster. Y bueno, diría buenas noches, pero son las 4 de la tarde. Así que buenas tardes. Chao. Chao nomás.
Chao, nos vamos, Giles Coliadas.
Ah, por cierto, muchas gracias, Chavs. Muchas gracias, Artemisa. Muchas gracias, Sima. Y muchas gracias, Arimoy, por haberme hecho raid. Hoy tuve 5 raid, así que se les quiere mucho. Y también a los que están acá, X Philip, Pepecito que justo llegaste al final. Y Maffer también, se le agradece mucho. Buenas tardes.